So this is a little Aqua L leady aquarium with some goldfish in it. So what I'm going to do now is just talk you through all the things you might want to consider when managing a little aquarium like this. And one thing to be very aware of with an aquarium like this is that goldfish do grow to a decent size. So a small aquarium to a degree will actually stunt the growth of the fish. So there are times when it just seems like the fish don't outgrow the tank, even though they should. But just keeping an eye on the fish and just being mindful that as the fish grow, if they are looking not as comfortable in the aquarium, it's a good idea to swap them out. So whether you give them to someone with a pond or a more appropriate arrangement for a larger growing fish, or just bring them back to the shop. And the other thing is that change is king. So I'm a very big fan of change. So I really believe that you set up a tank like this and you make it look really nice and you master it and you tend to really, really enjoy it. But the reality of everything is after a while you've sort of seen it. So what I believe is that you set it up, you make it look great, you really enjoy it, but just be aware. In general, I reckon that most people, for 1 year, they love it, and then 1 year, they like it, and then they've sort of seen it. So I think it's quite important to be realistic with your expectations. So if you find you can walk past your aquarium and you don't have to look at it, what my advice is trade the fish in, or change the decorations, or do something different, because the fact you're doing something different is what tends to keep you engaged. And the other thing is that this little box is their life. So sometimes swapping out the ornaments and changing things around in the tank, not only is that quite good for you and your interest in the fish, it's actually really good for the fish because it gives the fish a whole new world that they can explore. So change is king. So with an aquarium like this, you might want to go to tropical fish, or you might want to go to temperate water fish. There's quite a lot of options, but I'm a big fan of change. Change is king. So if you can walk past your tank and you don't have to look at it, then thinking about changing or swapping things every now and then, depending on your personality, is something that I highly encourage. Now, one of the decisions you always have to make with an aquarium is whether you go for live or fake plants. Now, with fish like goldfish, fake plants are a much better idea because some fish like goldfish are very rough on the plants. So if you don't have plants growing in your aquarium, you might want to go for these synthetic plants. Now, over time, if you have a goldfish tank like this and you notice the synthetic plants looking pretty crappy, then what I'll do is get them out and put them in the sun for a day. Then I'll flip them over and leave them in the sun for a day. And then the algae will bleach off by the sun. And then I'll hit the plant with all the decoration or the rock or whatever with the hose. And often you're quite surprised how nicely it comes up. But also be aware that your fake plants are a little bit disposable. So every now and then it doesn't hurt just to get some new plants because they will start looking tired after a while, and that's normal. I like these Aqua L leady aquariums. They're really easy just to take the lid off. And I also love that the LED light's waterproof, so you can literally drop it in the water and it doesn't worry you at all. And now suddenly I've got full access to the top of the aquarium. So one of the other things I'll be looking to do is try and conceal that hose a little bit. So maybe just try and position the plant so it's not as visible as possible. One of the other things I'll be trying to do is lift this filter up a little bit because I'm really wanting that. I'm really wanting the agitation of the surface, because what happens with the filter is inside the filter grows lots of good bacteria, and this good bacteria is supposed to break down the waste from the fish. So what we don't want to do is wash that filter with tap water. We only ever want to wash it in water from the fish tank. And we also want to just be aware that the good bacteria is going to suck all the oxygen out of the water. So if the water can return above or agitate the surface, then that's helping to re-aerate the oxygen that the filter itself actually takes out. So I really rather that the filter is agitating the surface like this. And the fact we've got an air stone is a very, very good idea because that allows contingency and the increased oxygen increases the dissolved oxygen, which increases the redox potential, which is how effective the filter can actually work. Also, there's lots of airline here. I'd think about we'll snip that up and clean it up because we don't need all that extra drag. Suggestion, fish keeping is 50% water quality and 50% food quality. So I'm about to test up this water and see what the water's like. But one thing I will note is that in the future, if you did want to put a little bit more biological capacity into this aquarium, we could actually just put a few marine pure balls in there. And marine pure balls can just hide in the back. We don't really need to see them, but they act like a compost heap and allow the formation of parallel nitrifying and denitrifying bacteria. So we'll just help to reduce your maintenance over time, and will just help to increase the capacity of the aquarium over time. And it's not a miracle fix, but it is something that helps. And for the very cheap price that they are, hiding a few marine pure balls is something I'd highly recommend. And then just something else to be aware of, once again, just to enhance the tank, not because you need it, is there is polyfilter. And what polyfilter will do is adsorb and absorb anything impure out of the water. So let's say something goes wrong, then polyfilter's there to catch it. Also, let's say that you've got a cleaner or whoever and they're spraying chemicals around the tank for cleaning products. If a little bit of that goes into the aquarium, it can be toxic to the fish. Whereas products like polyfilter go a long way to try to remove things like that from the water, just in case of various emergencies. So you cut a little piece of it, you'd hide it in the back there, and then it would start off white, and then over time it'll change color according to what it's removing. And then when it's finished, it turns to black, so you know that you could replace it. So polyfilter can remove accumulants and various stuff from your water. And though I am not telling you to use this as an excuse for doing less water changes and less maintenance, it definitely makes your tank more forgiving. So let's say that you didn't do water changes at all. You'll actually be quite amazed how healthy your fish will remain under the care of polyfilter, because your accumulants and various things that are one of your main reasons for doing water changes and maintenance are very much handled by the polyfilter. So to be clear, I am not telling you to maintain your tank less due to polyfilter, but I am telling you that if you were not to do that, then you will be amazed how well the aquarium runs with the assistance of polyfilter. Now we're going to test the water in a second. As far as food's concerned, so this is a good food as far as fish foods go, but it is worth to just being aware of probiotic foods. So this one here is New Life Spectrum's probiotics, and it's got a probiotic bacteria in the food, which means when the fish poo, the bacteria in the poo physically eats the poo. So I do find that the tanks stay a lot cleaner when this is in the diet or even the diet. So the quality of your food, obviously the higher quality foods are a little bit more expensive, but I think they're really worth it. The other thing with this one is this is a cold extruded food, which means the fish are actually getting the nutrients. It's not pressure cooked and processed, and it's also set at the absorption rate of the fish. So you only need to feed them a tiny amount, and you're amazed how clean the tank will stay. And when you're feeding fish, what you're doing is you're looking at their bellies. At the moment, these fish's bellies are quite good as far as goldfish go. But what we don't want to do is see the belly too fat. Otherwise, whatever we're doing, we want to do less. And we also don't want to see the belly too thin. Otherwise, whatever we're doing, we need to do more. So what I really recommend is every now and then, even if it be once a quarter, come down and bring a video so we can see everything going on in the aquarium. But we also want to see all your bits and pieces. And then bring us a sample of water, and we can just guide you to make sure that your fish are looking healthy and happy. And we can give you any feedback, particularly on feeding or water quality. Because once again, the quality of your fish health is directly related to your food quality and your water quality.